Ever since the first engines were attached to pedal-powered bicycles back in the late 19th century, it became clear that this would always be far more than merely a form of transport. Motorcycling is a way of life, and the whole world over, a camaraderie and spirit of adventure is shared by bikers wherever they happen to come from and whatever machine they happen to ride. In this program, however, we'll be focusing on one specific manufacturer, celebrating the phenomenon that is and always will be Yamaha. Early motorcycles quickly gained in popularity, and as the engineering luminaries of Great Britain, such as Ariel, Norton, and Triumph, made names for themselves, motorcycle racing fast developed a dedicated following. However, with the outbreak of the First World War, all industrial production was turned over to military requirements. While this didn't help the cause of motorcycle racing directly, it certainly helped solidify the names of certain motorcycle production companies in people's minds, and undoubtedly contributed to the growing interest in bike racing after the war. Once peace had been restored, the fascination with motorcycles became greater than ever, although in Japan, Yamaha still hadn't entered the marketplace. You may have thought that as the storm clouds heralding a Second World War gathered, Yamaha might then have begun its long and illustrious history in motorcycle production, but you'd be wrong. It was only after the war had ended and the familiar giants of the racetracks failed to move with the times that the company's future started to take shape. While Western manufacturers rested on their laurels, the same could not be said of their Japanese counterparts. Yamaha were poised and ready to take full advantage of the situation. Although Yamaha was a late starter in the motorcycle industry, it all began when Junichi Kawakami, the then president of what is now the Yamaha Corporation, produced the first of the company's remarkable bikes. Right from the beginning, Mr. Kawakami had a clear vision for Yamaha motorcycles, and when he said that if you were going to do something, then be the best, he served notice that Yamaha was ready to take on the more established motorcycle manufacturers of the West, like Triumph and the iconic Harley-Davidson. Yamaha originally began its business manufacturing musical instruments, specializing in pianos. But during World War II, the Japanese government ordered the company to set up a factory to produce airplane propellers. With great foresight, Mr. Kawakami quickly came to the conclusion that the people of Japan would have a much greater need for transport in the post-war years than pianos, and this proved to be very well-founded indeed. Yamaha began producing simple and inexpensive motorcycles in 1954, and as well as being extremely reliable, great attention was paid to the appearance of the bike as well. Over the ensuing years, worldwide trade grew and relations between Japan and America improved. By 1958, these popular Yamahas were soon being sold in the USA by an independent distributor. However, as sales grew, it became apparent that the company needed to be in control of their US-based sales. So when the 1960s rolled around, the Yamaha International Corporation took charge of their own distribution, opening its first subsidiary in the United States. Along with Suzuki and Kawasaki, Yamaha was soon putting Japanese motorcycles on the world map as a force to be reckoned with. So much so that through the latter part of the 20th century, they dominated motorcycle racing, with the likes of Kenny Roberts and Steve Baker winning many races astride a Yamaha bike. It wasn't just on the racetracks that Yamaha blossomed, though. Raw speed wasn't everything. And Yamaha demonstrated this with the stylish imagination of the Virago, Dragstar, and R1 bikes, to name but a few of their most iconic brands. Not that their racing heritage was overlooked, especially when Italian motorcycling ace Valentino Rossi joined Yamaha from Honda, winning back-to-back world championships in 2004 and 2005. From cruisers and super sports to off-road motorcycles and scooters, Yamaha are now selling their machines all over the world, with an enviable presence in 33 countries. That said, the wisdom of Junichi Kawakami is still strictly adhered to even today. In fact, as you see these fabulous bikes in action, there's a Japanese term that sums up the philosophy of Yamaha to perfection. Kondo describes what it feels like to experience profound excitement and gratification derived from experiencing supreme quality and performance, something that Yamaha works tirelessly to deliver. In this age where the work-life balance has never been more crucial for our well-being, motorcycles offer both practical transport solutions and the ultimate form of escapism. Despite being a little late to the table, Yamaha have become and remain the true masters of this not quite so ancient art. Throughout the course of this program, we'll be taking a closer look at a variety of Yamahas that are as stylish as they are practical, ranging from 50 cc's right through to the superbike giants. So without further ado, may I introduce a motorcycle that exudes Yamaha style and power. When Yamaha say, meet the monster, it's the XJR 1300 that you'll come face to face with. A bike that's perfectly described as being the ultimate in street muscle. Tough and uncompromising, yet so well balanced its ease of handling puts the rider in complete control, the XJR 1300 will always get you noticed, and for all the right reasons. Taking the Yamaha mantra of when you want proper muscle, there's no substitute for CCs, the XJR 1300 is unashamedly big on power, big on technology, and big on looks. It comes packing a classic air-cooled 4-stroke, forward-inclined parallel 4-cylinder. With 4 valves apiece and a double overhead cam design, the engine alone screams muscle bike. With fuel injection, this 1251cc machine is power-loaded, and even in top gear will pull away without an excess of clutch slip. In fact, the secret of its success has to be the mountain of smooth torque, which is spread through the entire revolution range. Described often as the ultimate twist-and-go motor, the XJR is all about smooth acceleration with a lot of headroom. Its impressive top speed of 140 miles per hour will woo most riders. But due to its size, many find cruising at the 80 mile per hour mark much more to their taste. As due to the large engine bore, the revs are so minimal at this speed that it's an incredibly comfortable ride. As you would expect, this is far from being a lightweight bike at 254 kilograms, but with its double cradle tubular steel frame with box section aluminum swing arm, it's actually surprisingly easy to handle. The suspension was criticized on earlier models for rocking back and forth slightly, producing a degree of wobble, but later modifications saw the back of this minor hiccup. The XJR now has one of the smoothest rides of the Yamaha range. Despite its not inconsiderable bulk, this stylishly powerful machine has been designed to handle any twists and turns in the road, and Yamaha have made sure that not one single corner has been cut in the design process. Look out for the stiff 43mm forks up front and trick Öhlins shock absorbers on the back. For Yamaha's street bikes, Öhlins have proved to be invaluable as a supplier, offering a technically advanced product in every respect, most notably in terms of performance, precision, and reliability. Öhlins is a Swedish company of great renown that produces shock absorbers for motorbikes, cars, and snowmobiles. Founded back in 1976, This firm is an integral part of motorsport history, having contributed to more than 200 winning world championships and other major titles. They use a decarbon concept, which in effect means that the damping oil is placed under pressure by gas and then separated by a floating piston. This idea has many advantages, including the prevention of cavitations, making the shock absorber last longer, while giving greater consistency to damping, no matter what the shock absorber's working temperature happens to be. Of course, with a bike of this size and power, braking is as important a consideration as accelerating, and the monoblock 4-piston front brake calipers and 298mm floating discs will ensure that you stop just as efficiently as you started. All in all, the XJR 1300 is a monster bike for a high-end cruising road thrashing rider wanting a bike that's hard to beat, at least in terms of raw size and power. However, this type of ride isn't for everyone. Some prefer something a little more entry-level, a little smaller, and perhaps even a little greener. Whether you're new to riding or an experienced biker, Aox scooters offer the best entry-level performance and style in the 50cc category. Not only this, but they also give you a real taste of the racing spirit and heritage that is such an intrinsic part of Yamaha's history. With its race-inspired graphics, you don't need to be an expert to appreciate its feather-light handling or mighty fine looks. Unlike other scooters, this 50cc bike brings pure excitement to your journey and gives you far more road presence than a ride of this size should do. This is the Aox R that you see being ridden here. Inspired by Yamaha's truly awesome R series of sports bikes, it's never been a case of these less powerful machines being put together with any less style and panache. In fact, the Aox RR, the Rossi replica, is styled in Yamaha's MotoGP World Championship colors and is hugely popular with riders of all ages. Racing always has and always will be an important part of Yamaha engineering. And certainly when Valentino Rossi moved across from Honda to Yamaha, he brought a new edge of performance, even winning the first race he took part in for his new team. There is something delightfully simplistic and immediately evident when you look at this scooter. But when you take it out on the open road, you'll soon realize that there's a lot more to the Aox R than first meets the eye. With a liquid-cooled, two-stroke single-cylinder engine, this bike is neat and compact, but also delivers plenty of power for the type of motoring it was designed for. Its ultra-reliable automatic transmission system is everything you would expect. And with responsive acceleration, excellent flexibility, and good economy, the all-round package certainly delivers. There's both an electric and a kickstart, because with this type of transmission system, you won't be able to push it to get it going in the rare event of the electric start failing. Yamaha's sense of style is always consistent and imaginative, with even the petrol cap looking more like the ones you would find on a superbike. It's worth taking a closer look at because you're unlikely to see it too often. With a fuel tank capacity of 7 liters, and since this machine is so economical, a trip to the pumps won't be a regular one. An equal amount of care has been taken with developing the chassis, and this certainly makes for a much more comfortable ride, helping to take the stress out of the type of commuting that scooters are so good for. Also, despite the very sporty look of the Aox, it still keeps its traditional step-through frame and arched front, adding to the rider's level of comfort with a well-balanced seating position. Look out as well for the hydraulic front and rear disc brakes that mean braking is well covered. Also, don't be deceived by the lack of noise from the exhaust. It certainly doesn't indicate a low power output. This is a definite plus. And although the bigger Yamahas virtually roar with potential, for a machine intended for urban biking, the Aox R is perfectly adapted to the environment. Another stylish addition is the halogen headlights, which certainly contribute to the distinctive look of the bike. And of course, when it comes to night riding, this also maximizes visibility. It's interesting to look back at how the scooter was actually developed, considering they have been around since the days of the early motorcycles at the dawn of the 20th century. However, it was really after the Second World War that they became hugely popular. And by the 1950s and 60s, they had also become something of a style icon, with the Italian Vespas and Lambrettas taking the world by storm. Even Harley-Davidson produced one in the 1960s called the Topper, with a fiberglass body and a pull-down starting mechanism similar to that of a lawnmower. The interesting thing about this machine is the fact that it utilized a CVT, continuously variable transmission, which is what you'll actually find on most modern scooters produced today. This allows the engine to run at its most efficient, producing that all-important fuel economy that scooters like the Aox are so famous for. Needless to say, the Japanese were also quick to pick up on this popular motorcycling trend, but ensuring sufficient power at such a small bore was quite a challenge. A CDI, capacitor discharge ignition, is a system that has developed over the years to overcome the long charging times associated with high-speed engines, and is used in the Aox 50cc today. The first bike with CDI was manufactured by Kawasaki, but it wasn't until the mid-1970s that CDI systems were installed in all small scooter engines. Its ability to fire multiple sparks can provide improved cold starting capability, and its high voltage rise makes CDI systems insensitive to shunt resistance. All in all, the Aox 50cc is a superb way to kickstart your motorcycle life. The design of the scooter is possible because the engine and the drive system transfer power to the rear wheel that is attached to the rear axle. This is unlike bigger motorbikes where the engine tends to be mounted on the frame. This history reflects the larger, sporty, and high-performance scooters Yamaha deliver to the market today. And the XT125X is a grand example of this, as it has a scooter feel with its CDI ignition system and electric and kick starter, but the look of a mean machine. In 2005, the Supermoto XT125X came to the market, offering new riders a chance to grab life by the handlebars. With a feisty 125cc ride sporting big bike looks and image, giving the consumer a chance to have the best of both worlds. Inspired by XT engineering, it takes its styling from its popular big brother, the XT660X, and is designed to appeal to the younger, more style-conscious riders, giving them a hot new look and an adrenaline-fueled ride through the streets of their city. The XT family has always been a rough, macho brand, and the XT125X continues this trend, while still managing to make a great first true bike, combining ease of use with a knockout racing spirit. All Yamaha's XT family have something new to give to the category they are made for, and the XT125X's Supermoto trait definitely shines through. Mixing high-revving fuel-injected power with fat sports tires for serious traction on the tightest of turns. Along with its motocross-style seat, that gives you a very comfortable riding position. Its well-balanced weight distribution means you can shift your own mass around, making you look like a pro rider, just like Kenny Roberts. He was the first rider to use his knee to balance the bike on the track corners. And even though you won't be using this machine for that type of riding, this bike gives a feel of professional status. Along with the chassis caster angle being reduced to 26.7 degrees and the trail being 78.3 millimeters, this adds to the sporty handling character, which is similar to its opposing version, the XT125R adventure bike. With these dimensions, it means the bike gives a stable and safe ride, as well as giving great lean in the motorbike's dynamics for those sharp corners you may encounter. The XT125X has an air-cooled 4-stroke monocylinder engine, giving the bike a soothing sound and good exhaust notes, along with its 5-speed transmission, making gear changes extremely smooth. Virtually all high-performance racing motorcycles use a chain drive, and the XT125X has this feature, not only adding to its racing spirit, but also a lightweight solution that doesn't cause lag in throttle response. Its air-cooled engine means it's great for riding throughout all seasons, giving you the freedom you crave all year round. And its rear, suspended with a swing arm system, is great for absorbing bumps in the road, giving you an overall smoother journey. The chassis consists of a diamond-shaped framework, which was originally pioneered by Thomas Humber for the British motorized bicycle, and has become a universal design, forming the basis of most revolutionary motorcycles to date. From the XT125X to the bigger motorbike models such as the XJR 1300, Yamaha tend to use telescopic forks in their front suspension system because it's a relatively simple design, inexpensive to manufacture and assemble. Another low-cost device Yamaha have decided to use in this sexy scrambler is a traditional carburetor of the Mikuni type, the 3D6. Carburetors were the usual fuel delivery method for almost all petrol-fueled engines up until the late 1980s, when fuel injection became the preferred method. However, carburetors are generally still found in smaller engine motorbikes, not only because of the lower cost against assembling a fuel injection system, but there had been previous problems with earlier injection setups, giving Yamaha more than a good enough reason to stick to traditional values for this particular bike. Yamaha buy their carburetors from a Japanese corporation called Mikuni Manufacturing. They've been running since 1923, producing carburetors, fuel injections, and other automobile equipment, long before Yamaha began their adventure. Yamaha rely on Mikuni's years of expertise providing the latest technology for their scooters, keeping that Japanese spark running throughout the motors on today's market. Yamaha's history has proven that they've taken a path where the people are the fundamental element of product creation, bringing them joy and happiness from riding Yamaha products. Be you a first-time rider or a more experienced road hog, this XT125X definitely hits the spot. That said, if you're not quite ready or inclined to sit astride a monster like the XJR 1300, but want something a little beefier than the XT125, what's a rider to do? Sticking in the Yamaha range is a perfectly viable option. Enter the XMAX 250. The XMAX 250 is a maxi scooter that combines sophistication with a top-quality sports scooter going straight to the high end of the 250cc class. It meets every challenge, from the practicality of day-to-day commuting to a level of performance that'll spoil you in comparison to what other simpler scooters have to offer. The XMAX 250 delivers motorcycle-sized fun in a practical scooter package. And out on the roads, you'll be pleasantly surprised at the energy that bursts from this machine, still managing to remain flat and level for comfort. It has a 4-stroke single-cylinder liquid-cooled engine, and its fuel injection system is greatly efficient. This is a simple yet effective feature, keeping the bike a light 176 kilograms for excellent handling. The XMAX 250 scooter is packed full of reassurance to give you the confidence you need out on the road with the mid-size, sturdy 15-inch wheel setup. Its red backlit digital dials are a useful feature as they show all the information you need with a quick glance, meaning you can keep your eyes on the road as well as the data, taking pleasure in your surroundings and the excitement of the ride. The seat is big enough for two and has a huge under-seat zone for 2 helmets or maybe even a bag of shopping. From the first revs before you scoot off, it gives an awesome feel, whether you're on your own or have a friend along for the ride. Your passenger will also enjoy the journey in comfort with a dual-step seat, grab rail, and flip-out foot pegs, guaranteeing peace of mind for you and your pillion. The maxi scooter trend began in 1985 when Honda introduced the CH250 Elite Spacey and followed it up with the CN250 just 1 year later. Within a short time, other manufacturers joined this craze, Yamaha being one of them, making maxi scooters ranging from 250 cc's to 839cc engines. This particular fashion of bikes culminates today in Yamaha's own XMAX 250, a marvel of modern engineering and aesthetics. It's easily one of the better little scooters within the Yamaha collection, but if you want something with a little more adventure, if off-road calls to you more than the open road, then there really is only one bike that will do the job. For a true sense of adventure astride a rugged, functional, and stylish dual-purpose motorcycle, your one choice from the Yamaha range that couldn't be recommended more is the XT660Z Tenere. Designed to offer you the true off-road experience, while being equipped to handle the smoothest of modern roadways around the world, this bike is able to give you the riding experience you truly desire no matter what the environment. Of course, a wild animal like this is more at home off-road than on it, and the Tenere comes fully equipped to handle the harshest environments around. Its liquid-cooled 4-stroke 660cc engine delivers an impressive 58 nanometers of torque, giving you all the power necessary to traverse those tricky hilltops. To keep this bad boy full of juice, you'll be making use of the long-range 23-liter fuel tank, which will see you off-roading until the sun comes down, or taking advantage of the incredibly comfortable ride as you accomplish the distant tour down the highway. At the end of the day, getting to your favorite off-road spot is easier and quicker on-road. These longer journeys that can occasionally be a little tiresome on other bikes are made easy on the XT660Z, thanks to the combination of a dual seat and wind-beating rally raid style nose cowl. Any extra grime from the road or dirt trail is kept away from the rider by the sleek, high screen incorporated into the front of the vehicle, keeping you clean and your eyes clear to judge that next turn to perfection. One of the more important aspects of off-roading and the occasional vigorous on-roading is ride stability, and this is handled nicely by a combination of a steel tube diamond-shaped chassis and the matching of telescopic suspension forks at the front with a swing arm monocross at the rear. This is all incorporated into the Rally Raid bodywork to guarantee that the rugged but sleek look of the bike aren't sacrificed for practicality, giving the rider the best of both worlds. There are a couple of color variations for the more style-conscious among riders, one being the striking anodized aluminum-looking Power Blue, which creates a very eye-catching rendition of the XT660Z. For something a little more subtle and sleek, the midnight black coloring is what you're looking for, blending the bodywork with the engine to create a more streamlined-looking machine. While with the right paint job, the XT660Z does look pretty sleek and sporty, that's not what's in its heart. If you want a meaner-looking ride with its stylistic roots in the street racing game, there's a much more apt bike for you, the XJ6. Many of us will remember the XJ family as marking the beginning of an era of riding, with Yamaha's inline four-cylinder motorbikes dominating the market. The XJ6 was added to the series after Honda proved that there is a market for friendly middleweights with their Honda CBF 600. The inline four engine is sometimes referred to as the straight four, a four-cylinder internal combustion engine with all four of said cylinders mounted in a straight line across the crankcase. Chosen for its simple layout and near-perfect balance, this design is often thought of as a degree of mechanical excellence. Today, Yamaha still use this type of engine, and the 2009 R1 has an interesting straight four engine that doesn't fire at even intervals of 180 degrees, which we will see in more detail later. The XJ6 is part of the naked category, which is the most basic motorcycle stripped down to its fundamental parts. This style of motorcycling became popular in the 1970s and early 1980s because of the universal Japanese motorcycle. This phrase refers to the period of time in the late 1960s that saw all major Japanese manufacturers producing similar models. These companies did not produce what may be considered innovative styles or technically improved machines, but they were very quick to copy, and rapid progress with factors such as reliability and cost-effectiveness kept them level pegging with their competitors. Similar characteristics were the standard seating position, air-cooled twin-cylinder engine, telescopic front forks, and dual-cradle steel frame, to name but a few factors. Today, the current models have been developed to keep up to speed with our 21st century lifestyles, their sporting system remaining in step with retro bare-bones styles of these earlier rides. The emphasis on this XJ6 motorcycle is the functionality, performance, and ergonomics rather than aerodynamics. Riders are completely in the forethought throughout the design stages, producing a bike that people can interact with in the most efficient and comfortable manner. It's a design that meets every motorcycling need, delivering outstanding balance and performance while still being fun to ride and economical too. Similar to the XMAX 500, the moment you climb on board the low seat, you feel in charge of your ride. Smooth power delivery and handling characteristics turn every journey into a fun one. Once your helmet is on, you'll quickly gain confidence in the bike's abilities, and your riding experience will give you the chance to be whomever you desire, wherever your destination may be, with heads turning at every traffic light. Whether you're riding through the town or out on the highway, the XJ6 really is impressive. with its low vibration and great mileage of just under 55 miles to the gallon on an average speed of 60 miles per hour. It's a small, short bike that feels light and narrow, offering a decent amount of legroom for the rider and the passenger. It has a liquid-cooled, 4-stroke, forward-inclined, parallel 4-cylinder, 4-valve 600cc engine based on the XJ6, which has been tuned to deliver low to mid-range torque for fun riding. It also technically shares the same bases as the XJ6 Diversion. However, its bodywork gives it a cool, light and agile roadster look, which has proved popular with a wide range of bikers. Its lubricating system is wet sump, which is a built-in reservoir for oil, as opposed to an external or secondary reservoir used in a dry sump design. This wet sump is great for this particular bike as it's such a simple design, using a single pump and no external reservoir, which works well with 4-stroke engines. Yamaha really have thought of it all with this particular model, showing great attention to detail, giving the rider something new to experience with each journey. The handlebars are adjustable so you can have the best riding position possible. It has a 4-into-1 exhaust, which helps centralize mass for enhanced stability. And a muffler has been added to reduce engine noise, giving a sweeter engine note. With all these plus points, the XJ6 is more than capable of giving its rivals from Suzuki and Ducati a ride for their money on the spec sheets, the starting grid, and the open road. Another Yamaha special that's a good competitor amongst its rivals is the spectacular YZF R1. The R1 was originally introduced in 1998 after the redesign of the Genesis engine was launched. This particular powerhouse was designed by Yamaha themselves in 1984 for the FC750 and was used for over 20 years until the 2007 R1 model was completely redesigned using a 5-valve head and a downdraft intake. Over the years, Yamaha have substantially improved this bike series with the ongoing progression of minor changes using the true value of Kondo. But from reading a YZF R1 technical data sheet, you may wonder why this particular Yamaha stands out from the crowd, as its engine type and ignition system are very similar to that of the XJ6 that we've just seen. Well, to begin with, the technology advance of the R1 is very closely linked with the MotoGP winning YZF M1 than ever before. The M1, also known as the Mission 1, was specifically developed by Yamaha to race in the current MotoGP series. The MotoGP is the pinnacle of motorcycle racing, with the world's top riders competing against each other on the backs of 800cc prototypes. This became a class of its own in 2002, when the 500cc was relabeled as this, meaning teams could now enter 4-stroke machines with a capacity of up to 990cc into Grand Prix races. Since then, this category has allowed manufacturers to showcase and develop technology more relevant to the machines they sell to the public for road use, which today Yamaha uses to their full advantage. Valentino Rossi was the first rider to test the R1 2007 model, as this one had M1 DNA running all the way through it. As Rossi had had the most direct interest and influence on the development of the M1 MotoGP, Yamaha decided that he was the best person for the job. Neither he nor it disappointed, and the best characteristics from this merger are reflected in this road-legal model. This R1 is a machine for road riders ready to step up a notch and accept the challenge of the racetrack. Unlike the previous motorbikes we've seen so far, the YZF R1 has an aluminum delta box chassis rather than a diamond shape, which is the most technically refined frame on today's market. The compact design makes a new level of handling and control possible, with its rigid frame improving high-speed cornering performance, which has to be experienced to be believed. This type of chassis design was first introduced in 1983 on the OW70 and became a defining feature on the YZR 500 in the years that followed. The OW70 was a machine Kenny Roberts rode in his legendary GP battles with Freddie Spencer on the three-cylinder Honda NS 500. The aim of the Delta Box design was to increase handling stability and maneuverability, as well as a quest to research a frame on which the new V4 engine could be mounted most efficiently. On the R1, the engine bolts directly onto the frame at the cylinder head, and the telescopic forks have been increased in diameter to reduce the tendency to flex under heavy braking and cornering loads, introducing a whole new world of riding excitement. The beating heart of this Yamaha machine feels and sounds incredibly smooth, with its unforgettable growling exhaust note. It's made up of a liquid-cooled, four-stroke, forward-inclined, parallel, four-cylinder 998cc motor, which gives it a monstrous 180 brake horsepower at 12,500 RPM and 112.7 newtons torque at 10,000 RPM. Its top speed is a lightning-quick 186 miles per hour, and it does a breathtaking 0 to 60 miles per hour in a little under 3 seconds. The internal crankshaft torque has been reduced, making uneven firing intervals, which offer superb throttle linearity, giving great power delivery and ultimate traction. Yamaha claim that the uneven firing method they have used will give the riders a feel of two engines in one bike. A transistorized coil ignition system, or TCI, has also been used to add to this magnificent machine's efficiency and lifespan. And its constant mesh 6-speed transmission system ensures you will never run out of power, keeping the rider's blood pumping with pure excitement throughout the entire journey. The R1 has become much more than just another Japanese motorcycle. It has become an icon with its state-of-the-art racing technology, and it has the spirit of competition living in every component. You'll most definitely experience satisfaction in operating such an exceptional machine from the moment you stick the key in the ignition. This bike gives you a true sense of freedom in every ride, guaranteeing to addict you to the adrenaline-enthused hobby of motorcycling if you weren't already. One thing that can definitely be said about the Yamaha lineup of motorcycles is that they don't just innovate, but renovate also, bringing traditional styling and panache to the modern world. When it comes to designing some of the larger, more cruiser-centric bikes of the new century, there's one ride in particular that has been the basis for the coming decade's lineup of monster hogs, the Virago. Originally sold with a 750cc capacity engine in 1981, Yamaha were attempting to compete with an already very established market thanks to the all-American stylings of their rivals Harley-Davidson. However, bringing overseas engineering standards and improved component build quality with contemporary features, Yamaha made a firm and long-lasting entrance to the cruiserweight division of the motorcycle market. Despite its astounding success in the American trade, Yamaha did issue one quick redesign in 1984 that saw the iconic teardrop-shaped gas tank added, along with fine-tuning a couple of small issues that the company had been made aware of throughout the bike's short life. After that, the Virago was nigh on unstoppable. Even when Harley adopted slightly underhanded tactics to push the foreign company from the market sector by introducing a 700cc cap on imported bikes, Yamaha countered by releasing a slightly cut-down version of their touring cruiser, the Virago 699cc. This wouldn't be the only Virago to be released, however, as a wider spread of engine sizes caters to a far wider audience. Yamaha would eventually release bikes in the 920cc, 1000cc, and 1100cc categories. However, these larger bikes wouldn't stay on the market long. As the company's influence in the foreign markets expanded, they rebranded these machines with their own ranges, the V-Star and Roadstar series of motorcycles. After being in the cruiser market for several years, Yamaha were well aware that they had a winning brand on their hands. And despite compartmentalizing the top end of the powerhouse chain by renaming certain larger bikes, one ride that kept the name despite its different displacement was the toddler of the group, the Virago 125. Offering all the style of its bigger brothers with enough kick to get a younger or at least more relaxed rider where he or she was going, it became a hot seller. And Yamaha continued with the production of this particular bike well into the first decade of the 21st century. This stellar grounding in higher capacity motorbikes was the single largest building block in Yamaha's cruiser history. But the development didn't end with the iconic Virago. The styling and power from those early models of cruisers are just as evident today as it was when Yamaha entered the high-bore motorcycle game. Though today they have something even beefier to satisfy the two-wheeled cruiser petrol heads that inhabit this modern-day Earth, the XV 1900A. Known as the Midnight Star, it represents the pinnacle of engine capacity and cruiser performance that the contemporary range of Yamaha motorcycles has to offer. Coming fully equipped, as the name suggests, with a mile-eating 1854cc engine and 5-speed transmission, there is no other bike in the Yamaha range that can offer as much pulling power and long-range touring comfort. From the small 50cc to the biggest of the bunch, we have seen an array of fantastic motorbikes produced to the highest of standards, tested on the most famous racetracks before being sold to the public. The can-do approach most definitely runs through all the machines, giving each model their own characteristics, which empowers every Yamaha rider. Since day one, Yamaha have produced and developed motorcycles to perfection, keeping up with the times, and have learned from their mistakes to drive forwards in the motorcycling world. Each section of the Yamaha family, such as the XT and the R series, has a newer and updated version nearly every year, improving on the previous and developing on their art of engineering. The future of Yamaha depends on the uniqueness of each bike, delivering something different to the market and being one step ahead of their competition. Over the years, Yamaha have kept in mind Mr. Kawakami's beliefs about being the best, and they certainly do their best to deliver top-notch quality motorbikes. The attention to detail in every bike produced just goes to show how dedicated Yamaha are to giving their market something different from all other Japanese manufacturers. So next time you're out on the road and you're stopped at a red light, have a look in your mirrors at the envious faces you will see in the cars behind you, because you are riding a fantastic part of motorcycling history. The amber light allows you to start revving your machine, listening to the pure sound of excellent engineering, and you are the one in control. Once that green light burns bright, there's nothing stopping you from really experiencing what over half a century of engineering has to offer. Yamaha's style and performance are right at your fingertips.